Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about something that we all see in the tech world, fails. Now we're not talking about software glitches here or there. We're talking about monumental fails, like big fails, where the biggest companies somehow screw up. Well, buckle in and buckle because today we're going to break down 20 tech fails from 20 different companies. This is going to be a wild ride. Let's get into it. We got Apple Maps. Back in 2012, Apple launched their own Maps app to replace Google Maps on iOS devices. And well, let's just say it was an ultimate disaster. The app had errors, like showing roads that didn't exist, and sending drivers into rivers, and even getting entire cities wrong. It also messed up bridges, roads were all curvy and everything. It was so bad that Apple had to apologize. Like, Apple barely apologized, so this is a rare one. Next, we got the red ring of death for the Xbox 360. In 2005, Microsoft launched its highly anticipated console, but it came with a major flaw, overheating. The infamous red ring of death would appear on the console's power button, signaling a hardware failure. Estimated failure rate, a whopping 30% of the Xbox 360 units. 30%. Microsoft had to extend warranties and hand out free repairs. Talk about a disaster for a flagship product. They sent thousands and thousands of Xboxes to repair and replace. Next, let's talk about the infamous Samsung Galaxy Note 7. So in 2016, Samsung launched the Note 7, which is supposed to be an amazing phone. But because of overheating and the tight battery limitations, the battery started exploding. Yeah, that's right. The batteries in the phone overheated and caught fire. Samsung eventually had to recall 2.5 million devices. The worst part, after replacing all these units, the replacement phones also exploded. The Note 7 was a complete disaster. It got banned off airlines and you couldn't take it anywhere. Next, let's talk about Windows Vista. Microsoft thought it was going to be the next big thing, but it turned out to be one of the worst operating systems of all time. Slow performance, compatibility issues, and tons of security warnings made users cringe. Vista's launch was so bad that many people preferred the old Windows XP even years after launch. Next, let's talk about Google Glass. Google Glass, Google's ambitious project that augmented reality turned into an absolute flop. They were too expensive, too invasive with privacy concerns, and the public backlash was fierce. People called them creepy, especially because of the built-in camera that can record without anyone knowing. Just like the Meta Ray-Ban, and even though it has a light on it. But this would work. There's no light, no nothing. So it's just a camera and you don't even know when they're recording. Google eventually discontinued the product, but the wearable tech concept hasn't fully recovered from that disaster. Next, let's talk about Facebook IPO. In 2012, Facebook went public with their initial public offering. It was a disaster. Share prices were way too high, causing them to fall sharply after the IPO. Not only that, but technical glitches on the NASDAQ led to delays in the trade, and many investors lost confidence in the company. How about a rough start for now billion-dollar company? This led billions of dollars just being glitched out. You don't even know where your money was getting sent. Then we have the Apple Butterfly keyboard. Arguably, this is one of the worst designs Apple has ever made. It was supposed to be a sleek, ultra-thin solution, but it was so badly designed that it ended up breaking constantly. Dust and debris would get stuck under the keys, making it like crunchy and like unable to type on, and also become unresponsive or sticky. Apple was forced to spend millions of dollars replacing these keyboards, and eventually they had abandoned the design altogether. Then they improved to the next generation keyboard, and that was way better. Next, let's talk about the Amazon Fire Phone. Amazon tried to enter the smartphone market with the Fire Phone in 2012. It was basically an iPhone, but for Amazon. And it did not work at all. The phone had a 3D screen that nobody wanted, nobody cared about it, and it had a lack of apps, there was barely any apps. And the Fire Phone had a crazy high price tag. Amazon took a massive $170 million loss and put the phone from the market. And also, some of the features scam products so you can order more off Amazon. Jeff Bezos, who ain't doing a good job trying to get people to buy stuff on Amazon. But Amazon Amazon would like to forget. Next, let's talk about the Microsoft Zune. Microsoft had its own Zune MP3 player, and they thought it could rival the iPod. But the Zune was a failure. It was an utter disaster. The software was clunky, the device was bulky, and the interface was nowhere near as good as Apple's. It was just a bunch of knockoff MP3 players at this time in the competition. Microsoft was one of them. And it wasn't a surprise when Microsoft decided to end the Zune run after just a few years. It's one of the biggest failures in the MP3 market. Next, let's talk about BlackBerry. Remember BlackBerry? It was a smartphone for business professionals, but it failed to keep up with the times. BlackBerry stuck to its physical keyboard and proprietary operating system, which iOS and Android surged ahead with touchscreens and app ecosystem. By the time BlackBerry switched to a modern OS, it was too late and it was already way behind the competition. Today, BlackBerry is still a company, but it's way less popular than it was back in the 2000s. Next, let's talk about Google Stadia. Google Stadia launched in 2019, and it had a lot of hype, but everyone just forgot about it after a couple months. Streaming games directly to your device sounded amazing, but in practice, the technology just couldn't deliver. Latency was an issue, and the library of games was smaller than expected. Google had to backtrack and even shut down Stadia's internal game development studios. And better options like Nvidia GeForce Now and Xbox Cloud Gaming made it way better than Stadia. It also had the Stadia controller, and that only worked with Stadia until a recent software update. And it's not even the best controller, it's an okay controller. Safe to say, Google did not have a good time in gaming. Do you remember MySpace? MySpace was the king of social media before Facebook. It came in and took over. MySpace failed to innovate. It ended up being overrun by ads and spam. They also couldn't keep up with Facebook's cleaner interface and better user engagement. And MySpace was regulated into the history book of tech fails. Talking about Facebook, let's talk about some of Facebook fails, like Facebook Cambridge Analytica scandal. It was one of the biggest data privacy fails of all time. In 2018, it was revealed that millions of Facebook users' data had been harvested without their consent and used to target political ads. They took their data and used it for advertising. And a lot of companies started doing this, but because it's Facebook, millions of people, not just a little amount of people, millions. And Facebook's reputation took a serious hit and had to implement stricter privacy controls. Now Apple's back, now with antenna hit. Back in 2010, Apple launched the iPhone 4. While the phone was an instant hit, it had pretty big flaws. When you held the phone in a certain way, especially blocking the antenna, it would cause the signal to drop, and some people, in some cases, even had no signal. This sparked the famous "you're holding it wrong" comment from Apple's then CEO Steve Jobs. Apple eventually offered free bumpers to fix this issue, but this PR nightmare hurt Apple's reputation for a while. Next, our Amazon is back again, now with another banger, Amazon Dash buttons. Basically, it was like a $4 button which you could click and you could order a product again. But it had money flaws. Like once you click on accident, you can't cancel the order, and you can only order a single product at a time. And also, someone just kept on spamming the button like a little child. Then they kept on spamming it. Then your bank account will instantly go to zero. You can order products like Tide, Doritos, or Charmin. The idea was that you have a button for each product, and you can just click it when you're running low. But it was just too niche and ridiculous. Like, who would buy that? Like, nobody wanted to clutter their phone with dozens of buttons just for their product, their favorite product. And many of the buttons just ended up gathering dust and getting forgotten about. Amazon eventually shut down the Dash button program in 2019. So much for an innovative shopping experience. Finally, let's talk about the Juiceroo. Okay, this one takes the cake for the tech fail of the decade. Juiceroo was a company that sold $400 juicers that used juice packets to make juice. That's convenient, right? The problem was they were real and you could just squeeze the packets with your hand to get the same result without the juicer. In fact, some of the investors behind Juiceroo had to serious damage control as the whole product was utterly pointless. Despite raising $120 million in funding, the company shut down in 2017. What's the point of a juicer when you can just have the packet, squeeze them into the glass, and you just have your juice? And you don't need the juicer. Talk about a fail. So there you have it, 20 tech fails from 20 different companies. These failures remind us even the biggest companies aren't perfect, and there will be missteps and blunders. If you enjoyed this walk down history's fail day. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and comment with your favorite or least favorite tech fail. I'll see you in the next video.